Peach.
It's like NyQuil.
Peach and liquor. Okay. Tonight we're talking about Watchmen.
Yeah.
Billy Crudup's 21st movie.
Yes. And I want to say Paul
Schneider, you bringing him up again?
Zack Snyder.
Yes.
Paul Schneider, Roy Scheider,
Oh.
Zack Snyder. It's his first... No, he did 300 before this.
You say it's his first movie?
No, his first, spectacle movie. But no, that's not true. He did 300. Because he did that Dawn of the Dead remake and some weird porno and then
Are you talking
300.
about fucking Sucker Punch?
No, that came after this.
What weird porno?
Was it after this or was that before this?
Before.
Sucker Punch was before this?
Sucker Punch is before this shit? What porno are you talking about?
I'm just joking.
This episode is completely fucked. It is missing time. Like an alien abducted it. Beware. Here it starts with the synopsis.
America and Russia be able to find common ground. Did the comedian assault Sally Jupiter? Yes. Is Rorschach seemingly in the wrong movie? Does Dr. Manhattan have figurative blue balls to go with his literal blue balls? Who cares? Look at that fucking slow-mo fight choreography, you moron.
Yeah. This movie had a budget of $130 million, estimated. Probably not including marketing. It grossed $185 million, with a $55 million opening weekend.
People smelled that stink on it right away.
Apparently, $7 million was spent in pre-production before Zack Snyder even came on board. It was rumored originally, or maybe not rumored, maybe this was in fact the case, that Tim Burton was interested in directing the film.
God, that'd been much worse.
With Johnny Depp as the comedian. But
that would be much worse.
But he started working on Sweeney Todd and Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, that would have been pretty bad. What's his name? Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Yeah.
He ended up getting the role. So first off, Snyder casted younger because he figured it'd be easier to make them look old as opposed to making old people look young. There's a shit ton of trivia for this movie, and most of it's complete garbage. I will say that I didn't realize this, but all of the United States flags in the movie have 51 stars because apparently Vietnam becomes the 51st state. I don't know. Why was Richard Nixon president for 100 years?
I think he just gets a third term, right? To show you. I mean,
maybe.
It's a terrible America we've gone into.
Kind of feels like they should have just stuck with some semblance of reality and gone with Nixon because he kind of would have fit also in...
You mean Reagan? You said Nixon.
Yeah, I said Reagan. Yeah, Reagan, not Nixon.
Okay.
I mean, Nixon works.
I mean, it's based on the comic.
I get that. I didn't read the comic.
Comic wrote
graphic novel.
Comic. Well, no, I mean it was a comic series.
Right now,
that was.
It is a graphic novel, sir.
Graphic novel format.
Please have some dignity.
Yeah.
Alan Moore is notorious for not liking any film adaptation of his.
But he loved this one. He thought this one really got the spirit.
No, and apparently there was an interview with Zack Snyder for the British Tripwire Comics fanzine, where he said the worst case scenario, Alan puts the movie in his DVD player on a cold Sunday in London and watches and says, yeah, that doesn't suck too bad. Alan Moore, in response, says, I think he's underestimated what the worst case scenario would be. That's never going to happen in my DVD player in London. He apparently lives in Northampton. I don't know where that is. Who cares? But he hates every adaptation for all of his projects, but he sold the rights young for money and lived to regret it. So, yeah, like I said, everybody is younger than the person they're playing for the most part. In fact, Carla Gugino or Gugino?
I think it's Gugino.
She's only 7 years older than Malin Ackerman, but she's playing 67. You had mentioned this. So Jackie Earle Haley was 47.
Oh, fuck yeah, I knew it.
Rorschach is 45 in the book. There is a newscast in the movie that gives his age as 35, but they say it's an error. Just they're speculating.
Okay.
Because all chronology in the film indicates that he's 45, not 35.
Yeah, he's old as hell.
He's old as fuck. He was the first one cast, and he really vied for this movie. He's the only one who actually read the source material before the movie.
I think Jackie Earle Haley might be kind of an awesome dude.
Seems like it. He was Freddy in one movie.
But he was also the former, the released pedophile in Little Children, also starring Patrick Wilson. And he was in the Bad News Bears, right? Wasn't he that kid that smoked a lot in the Bad News Bears?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I mean...
that is right. Yeah,
he was
yeah.
a child star, famous child star.
So they got Tim Blake Nelson to effectively be the new Rorschach in the TV show.
Kind of, yeah.
But he's got a mirror mask or something. The show is really good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
It's everything this movie isn't.
It is, yeah. Apparently in 1996, Wizard Magazine published a casting choice for Watchmen
I'm
list.
excited. I remember the X-Men one. Give me this.
Rorschach, David Caruso. Night Owl, William Hurt, which I could see. I don't know about David Caruso. The comedian, Dennis Farina.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Ozymandias, Robert Redford. Now, this is 96. These people aren't young at this point.
No, Redford's still very old at that point, like in his 50s, late 50s.
Dr. Manhattan, I don't know who David James Elliott is, but that's who they put for Dr. Manhattan. Silk Spectre, who is barely in this movie. Demi Moore.
Isn't Silk Spectre Melanie Ackerman?
No, she's, Lady Jupiter. The new Lady Jupiter.
Who the fuck's Silk Spectre?
She's
that hot lady with the black hair?
who's murdered for being gay.
Yeah. Is it the government that's killing them off? I don't remember the comic book.
I don't know, because I didn't read it.
Yeah.
In the book, or in the movie, that one dude, Rorschach references the fact that his cape got stuck in a revolving door, which allowed him to be shot to death. The Patriot, maybe? Moloch would have been Roddy McDowell. Sally Jupiter would have been Anne Bancroft. And Hollis Mason, who I'm struggling to think who that is, would have been Charlton Heston. Hollis
It's that old guy.
Mason.
The guy that hangs out with the owl in the beginning.
Oh, sure. The original owl. I didn't realize this. So the basic premise, I kind of thought they were superheroes, especially based on the first time I saw this movie, which probably would have been when I was, 27, I guess? I just assumed they were like superheroes, especially because Veidt seems to have super strength.
Yeah.
As does the comedian. He punches through a fucking wall twice. They're just cops that dress up as superheroes to fight criminals who had been dressing up as villains.
Yep. No superpowers till Dr. Manhattan shows up.
Right. Which seems kind of weird. How is Veidt the smartest man in the world?
What do you mean, how is he the smartest man?
Like they confirm that?
Yeah, I guess. How do you quantify that? Yeah.
Whatever.
You know what?
No, I don't. What is that?
When I was watching this, I thought that Jeremy Irons was Ozymandias.
I did too.
I was waiting to see Jeremy Irons, and then quite a ways into it, I was like, "Oh, it's Matthew."
I was like, "Oh, they got because he doesn't look like Matthew Good as I know him."
No, but he's so good in the TV series that it erased all memories of Matthew Good.
I was like, "Oh, they got a really good guy to be a young Jeremy Irons."
Isn't Jeremy Irons so good in the TV show?
Yeah, he is.
Fuck.
And I mean, because they changed the ending of this.
I know, and it still bothers me 10 years later.
Because they were like, there's no way people are going to buy a giant squid that uses like mental powers to whatever. And I'm like,
it makes no sense that all those people were murdered to make this plan work at the end of the movie when it's just that stupid thing that Dr. Manhattan sent him. It's not some amazing plan to have an alien threat come in where you have to erase them, Fucking,
Which is another thing I like about the show, and we're spoiling it, but that, because you watched it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
That they go into it and you believe it.
Yeah.
He's still triggering random squid balls and shit, just to really emphasize that this is still a threat. And when you see that scene with Blake Nelson, where it happens, you're like, yeah, I'm buying this.
Why did he live? I don't remember that. I was trying to remember why Tim Blake Nelson made it through.
Because he was in a mirror maze or something.
But the woman with him died right in front of him.
I think some people do, some people don't. But the people who don't, it just instills a crippling fear within you, which is why he wears that mask, I guess, right? And his lined hat and shit. Boy, so, I mean, that's pretty much all the trivia I thought was worth it. The movie, again, not being familiar with the source material. So taking it as it is, it's not great. It's not great. It falls victim. Zack Snyder should not have made this movie because, like I said, when I originally saw it, the prison fight scene, the beginning fight scene, and really, I guess, the end fight scene, to some extent, as much as it is a fight scene, it seems like he really wants to make a superhero movie with superheroes, which these people are absolutely not.
Nope.
So when you're seeing them, when the owl guy, whatever his name is, Owlman, punches a man's arm and just shatters his bone out of his flesh.
That sequence is awesome, and you also feel like he missed the mark on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are fucking bloodthirsty dickheads. Like, they're hopped up on power and just brutalizing and murdering these people.
Yes.
Which just stabs them in the neck.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck, they're not just beating them up and fucking them up. They're killing them, too.
And the man's arm explodes.
Yeah.
And you're like, what power is this guy possessing?
I know, he's like a middle-aged man. You really are still honed and ready to go and are a killing machine?
Yeah, when they're killing the comedian, I mean, the guy must weigh 250.
I think they go through that. They're like,
he's just
tall, he's heavy.
Throwing him and shit.
And they even say that the glass would be really hard to
There's no way he jumped out himself. He had to be thrown. And a dude punches through a wall. I wish there would have been a shot of a couple in that other room. Like, what? Why's his fist coming through my wall? And he's 70 at that point. And dude's just jackhammering him. And he's like, I'm just like, there's too much fantasy going on here. Especially for somebody who doesn't know the material, but probably also even more so for somebody who does. Because when they're just like, yeah, we're just cops putting on masks, almost like a PR stunt. You're like, okay, but this also. I guess in the beginning when the original owl guy is stopping a crime, are you familiar with this? Apparently it says here, now this doesn't make sense what they're saying here, but they said in that scene in the opening credits at around the 5-minute mark when Night Owl is his name, is stopping a mugging, there are Batman comic book covers and Fledermaus posters hanging on the wall of the alley, which one could assume, and as perhaps it's being suggested, that Night Owl is saving Thomas and Martha Wayne.
What?
Because there's also a poster that has the word Gotham on it. So it suggests that Night Owl saves Thomas and Martha Wayne, and then, of course, Bruce never goes on to be Batman. But I'm like, well, why are there comic book covers of Batman then? This is like a weird formula in Excel that's eating itself and it's unable to compute.
Sounds pretty stupid, bro.
It does. This is like Music the Movie.
What?
There's just like a ton of really well-known stupid songs that people can offhandedly identify with the era. There's 3, what's his name?
Bob
Dylan songs, only one of which is sung by him. The third one, of course, is the Jimi Hendrix the second one is Jimi Hendrix All Along the Watchtower. And the third one is a Bob Dylan song, but as sung by My Chemical Romance.
Who Zack Snyder directed a video for.
Of course. It's just music.
Yeah.
Hey, what scene are we in? Who cares? Music. You know it? Remember Vietnam? Boom, bitch. It's sad. It reminds me of, what is that? Suicide Squad? But not Suicide Squad.
Not the good one, the bad one?
Yeah, not the Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, which had infamously blown a tremendous amount of its budget on songs because it introduces its characters via songs and then immediately then reintroduces each character via song as if you didn't just learn who they were. This movie feels like, yes, like I said, when he goes on to helm the DCEU, you can see germs for those seeds in a movie like this.
Man, they fucked themselves for such a long time getting on the Snyder bus.
They did. They should not have tied their hitch to that wagon.
Yes.
Horse?
Burn the wagon, push it off the cliff.
Because, I mean, for one, yeah, Man of Steel's fine. BVS.
I tried to watch it a few times. I couldn't do it.
BVS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. And this is an infamous scene, but there's a scene in BVS where Batman needs to steal something from Lex Luthor and doesn't get it. But then in the next scene, it's been stolen and he does have it. Like there's a huge car chase. He's blowing dudes up with other cars. He's shooting the fuck out of dudes. But it's not in the thing that he's looking for. It's not there. And then Lex Luthor shows up to the warehouse the next day, and there's just a batarang where the thing should be. Like, he didn't get it in this huge bombastic action sequence. He stole it off camera, which is more befitting of whatever. This movie, so it starts with the comedian dying. He's thrown out the window. You know, they're like, oh, people are killing heroes maybe. Heroes have been outlawed. You can no longer do it.
Right.
For some reason. And
because people are complaining about the vigilantes.
Masks or badges, not masks. In the beginning when that guy throws the Molotov cocktail through that window.
I know, right after he
it kills everybody?
Yeah.
Just engulfs everybody in flames? Like, was this filled with gas?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that was the gas store.
It's the gas and TV store. Don't turn them on in the store. You know, and so, You didn't like Rorschach. Is that correct?
Right around the time we texted about that, he grew on me more.
Yes. His
Because
initial
he seems like he's
soliloquy.
mentally ill. Post that point, he seems like he's a mentally ill person. And he's more interesting. But prior to that, he's like, this fucking city.
When we're first introduced to him, all of a sudden we're getting his VO now, his internal monologue, which is just Max Payne hard-boiled to the grossest extent. The
city's afraid of me. I've seen its true face. The streets are extended gutters, and the gutters are full of blood.
I watch it, it looks at me, and I'm watching it.
Fucking everything is too long in this movie. Every voiceover, every scene. So much of it unneeded.
Yeah. When he mentions the fact that the lady hero was murdered because she was gay, is what it seems like they're insinuating.
She's looking pretty hot.
Her name is Silhouette.
Yeah.
He goes, Silhouette, murdered. A victim of her own indecent lifestyle.
I thought you said she was Silk Spectre.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But a victim of her own indecent lifestyle. I mean, she's just banging broads. Like,
yeah, but he's supposed to... You're not supposed to like him.
He's
You're
a
not
MAGA
supposed
dude.
to identify with him, yeah.
He seems like a MAGA guy.
He's a bad guy.
The voiceover comes in. Yes, it comes in. It's way heavy-handed. It doesn't feel like it belongs in this movie. But the more I spend time with him, I'm like, I wish this was just a Rorschach movie.
I think Alan Moore, one of his beefs was that people are treating Rorschach like a hero when this whole thing is supposed to show you how bad it would be with heroes, right? It becomes more fascist and dangerous.
Because I'm assuming he was a cop.
Rorschach.
Because they're all cops.
Well, no,
are they not cops?
I don't think they're actually cops. I think that's like a metaphor for what they are. They're acting as police officers.
The original dudes, I believe, were police officers.
Like within the TV show? No?
The original 1940s squad. Because Lady Jupiter has her kid via rape, who becomes the new Lady Jupiter. Yeah. Hollis, the old man he's going to see, he was the original Night Owl. Maybe the first ones were cops and then they just knighted other dudes to carry the mantle?
I think more people just decided to be heroes after that first
Because Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Yeah. He goes to Vietnam?
He's a bad guy.
With Dr. Manhattan?
He's such a bad guy. All the heroes are bad guys.
That scene with the pregnant woman?
Yeah.
It's like...
What about when he's enjoying burning people up with the flamethrower?
That too.
He's having a great time.
He is.
Isn't he killing people at the protests later on too when they jump down to fuck him up?
They show him ultimately shooting gas canisters, which I don't buy because it's a shotgun.
Yeah.
And he shot way more gas canisters than he should have. I don't know, man. It's all over the place. Because they're doing origin stories, but then they're jumping backwards and going forward, and then Dr. Manhattan gets his origin story.
I like that stuff.
Interestingly enough, Billy Crudup actually did the what I would call mocap. I guess up to this point, they would hire somebody as a stand-in for people to interact with or for things to move around.
That's not his body, though, right?
No. I also wondered why he was so buff.
I know, because Billy Crudup's more of like a runner body.
But I guess they addressed that. While he ended up actually being on set, and they put the mocap suit on him. And I want to say 2,500 blue lights so that he would actually emanate light in the scene so they wouldn't have to then in post.
How the fuck is he acting with all those lights on him?
Well, so that's it. They used two cameras. One, just a general camera. But then they also had one that was always focused on his face so that they actually captured his facial animation or his facial expressions and animated the guy around that. But apparently when he was atomized and reformed, he chose the form of the perfect body, which doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't seem like he would care, but...
He's also butt naked. Why do you need a dick? Sometimes he wears underwear, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he wears clothes, sometimes he doesn't.
Well, I think that underwear, they chose to put that on him because in the comic books, he's bare-ass naked 24/7.
But maybe when he's saving people and fighting crime, they're like, you can put that away.
Yeah.
It's a reasonably sized dick, too.
I liked, that's what Jenny was talking about. She caught a glimpse of it while she was
no nuts, but
TV.
definite dick.
I enjoyed the Billy Crudup sequences, like when he's a young scientist and becomes Dr. Manhattan. I actually felt Dr. Manhattan was pretty good.
He was. And although they changed the end, I feel like through his performance, it works. Or he salvages it, at least. Maybe it doesn't work necessarily, but this, and they didn't know this at the time, but this needed to be a TV show. At least a 3-part something.
Or fucking edit out like 45 minutes of it and have it just rocket along. Because at least the bare bones of it are entertaining. The storyline's good, man. It's just, Snyder does he takes every step wrong.
Again, without reading the material, the source material, I don't know how much each of these characters are involved in the story. Is there a part where Night Owl and Lady Jupiter are they trying to break him out of prison?
Yeah. I don't recall, but I believe pretty much everything is directly out of the comic books.
Okay, it feels like
framed exactly like the comic books.
Yeah. There's even dialogue that doesn't make sense in the context of the movie, but they kept it in from the comic. They mention a 4-legged chicken while they're at the restaurant. And then in the book, you see the waiter deliver the 4-legged chicken. I guess they don't do that in here. But, God, I don't know, man.
Can we rocket through the plot super duper fast?
I mean, basically, yeah. You got Dr. Manhattan making this device for Vite because they're trying to make free, unlimited energy, which will somehow stop Russia and America from going to nuclear war.
Yeah, why?
Are they fighting over oil? It just seems like they're fighting over distrust.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 80s. That's what it is, right?
You're right.
I'm going to blow you up. You're going to blow me up. I'm going to blow you up. You're going to blow me up.
Each power they came out of World War II relatively ahead of the rest of the superpowers because Europe was almost decimated entirely. And
as seen in Charlotte Gray and Uprising, starring Ronna Mitchell.
And each one is trying to establish themselves using the wealth that they've accumulated as the world leader. So it doesn't make sense what the power shit is. But Vite's also using some sort of device to block Dr. Manhattan's ability to see the future.
He can see his future and his past, but only his future and his past. He's not omnipresent everywhere at all times.
But because tachyon particles are interfering with his whatever,
he assumes there's a nuclear war that broke out.
Right, and it appears as if that's where things are going. Malin Ackerman, she's his girlfriend. He left his other girlfriend to be with her.
Which is weird because he doesn't seem to have any sexual drive.
No, and he does weird sex stuff for her, but it's not good.
No.
And when he's turning into Dr. Manhattan, it almost seems like the other doctor dude is like, yes, become my creation. But also his woman's like, I can't look. You know, I don't know.
I think it's just the inevitable fate of what's going to happen because
why was the test firing?
I don't know.
And why did he not know it was firing and that he only had a split second before the door closed after he went in? Leave the watch. Don't go in there.
This reminds me of in Duluth, I think there was a busboy dishwasher. They had a walk-in dishwasher to bring all the dishes in, like a big room.
Yeah.
And he got locked in there and cooked, died.
It was a big dishwashing room?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing that.
No. My mom was quite distraught by that story.
I could imagine, as one should be. So, yeah, he's dead. The comedian almost raped another, Carla Gugino.
Yep, so expect her.
But she kind of seemed like she was actually into it. When they came in and started whooping on him, she had a look on her face. It was hard to read. It was either she's turned on by the violence alone, or because she goes back to him and they have sex, legitimately, which is how she gets pregnant with Malin Ackerman.
I don't think she was into it. I think she was quite shamed.
You think so?
Feeling bad.
She had a weird look on her face. I don't want to castigate anybody. I don't want to put stones in anybody's pockets where they don't belong.
Embarrassment or horror, but maybe. I'm starting to hate it more and more as we talk about it.
It got to a point where I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Most of the actors I don't think are doing anything particularly great.
I don't think there's much you can do in this.
True.
Topher. Hey, Topher Grace. Can you make a good version of this? I hear you do fan edits. Topher? Christopher Grace?
Yeah, you almost got to cut a lot of the source and just you need one clear perspective.
I think I'm just going to start pissing on myself. That's how I feel about this movie.
This is where we lost a lot of audio. Or else we just didn't want to talk about it anymore. Nobody knows. When people say who watches The Watchmen, we would say not us please.
So, I don't know, man. That's it, I guess.
I gave it a 6, but I'm going to knock it down to 5.5.
I'm I'm going to give it a 5 because I do like some parts of it. Not half of it, but a third of it.
What are you going to give BC?
That's tough because it's effectively just a computer version of him. Although I guess he, at least was doing the bits.
No, yeah, he's low key. He's got an interesting energy to him.
But I mean, it wasn't just his voice.
No, yeah, it's
right.
It's
like
mocap,
you
right?
do get, you do get some semblance of a performance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5.5
for Billy.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually really liked him. I'd give him like a 7.
Oh, wow.
I was even thinking about maybe an 8.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He's like so removed. He's really doing it, man. I'm not trying to sway you.
No.
I'm just talking about...
I'm trying to... I think the problem is that the model that they used is so far removed from him that it isn't until you get close-ups that you're really rewarded with his performance.
I think between seeing him as Billy Crudup
briefly,
and then becoming Dr. Manhattan, I think there's an interesting transition between the two. I think he played Billy Crudup pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Dr. Manhattan, there's like a removed sense to him, which I think he conveys well. I think there's also kind of a real sadness and also a little bit of wonder as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like he really nails whatever he is trying to do. I think he does a really good job.
I think he does. The dialogue that he has isn't utter garbage, so he can work with it.
It's not toilet shit.
Yeah, it isn't whatever else is going on. God, do I have any actual other notes for this movie? I feel like it just washed over me. Oh, my last note was this is more than a little pretentious. Far more.
When they kept talking about how everything's just a joke, like doing that comedian stuff.
Yeah. I don't even understand what Carla Gugino's... You could have just gotten rid of all of that. She's just an old lady for a lot of the movie in a chair. It's like, what are you, starting the CIA?
I'm pretty sure they're both Silk Spectre.
Okay.
I think you're wrong about that.
It's just that their last names were Jupiter?
Yeah.
But they're not called Lady Jupiter?
No.
Well, that's fine. Scantily clad, both of them. A lot of crotch shot for Malin Ackerman.
Not very sexy, though.
A little bit of a butt shot for Carla. No. Man, I wish, you know what? Maybe would have, well, maybe not. I don't know how the book goes. But maybe if they would have done an It thing where the first movie is the first iteration of them.
Uh-huh.
And then the second movie is the newer stuff, the 80s stuff. Maybe that would have worked.
The It movies didn't work, though.
They were just bad. I mean,
those movies suck.
Yeah, I've seen both of them.
I haven't even seen all of the second one.
There was one scene that gave me a little bit of a willy freak.
About that.
I told you about that. But, not for lack of trying, they at least realized you can't cram all of this into... It doesn't even matter if you can watch a 3.5 version of it. It's like you're just asking too much. There's a 4-hour version of Justice League.
The Snyder Cut?
Yeah.
Are you saying the Snyder Cut is 4 hours?
I think it's about there.
I would thought about watching it. I hear it's better.
You know what also?
Huh.
It's a black and white version.
I don't think it's black and white.
There is a black and white version.
There is a black and white version. Okay.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
No. But there is a black and white version in case you really needed to sniff your own parts.
Yeah, I do. What I do is I stick a tube up my asshole, and it goes into a fishbowl that I have on my head, and then I fart in the tube, and it fills up the fishbowl. And, I just have a good time in there, man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do filmographies.
Do you?
Which
we
are doing, and
is that what's happening right
are
now?
Also on social media.
I thought you came over because I got you a fishbowl fart tube also.
I thought that's why I came over, but we got these microphones in front of us.
I got all these beans.
What's going on here? I bought some Boston baked beans.
Yeah.
I don't remember
with the bacon bits.
No, I don't remember. They weren't Boston baked. They were just baked beans. But it was a Dr. Pepper.
What?
Recipe.
Okay.
And they were the worst anything I've ever eaten.
So, I mean, here's the thing with this. I'm sure that you could have a pretty dope Dr. Pepper reduction mixed into a barbecue sauce or something along those lines.
And that's what I was assuming I was in for.
But you're getting the mass-produced garbage sack of shit with artificial everything. It's like, hey, do you like that? You like that Dr. Pepper?
It was so sweet.
Yeah.
And there was no Dr. Pepper redeeming character. It was.
Did you get 23 flavors?
I got maybe, but they were all
shit?
asshole.
Yeah.
Boy, we threw that fucking thing out.
Man, I bet. I remember all the mass-produced food is so bad now. At one point, several years ago, 5 years ago, I decided to run out and get us junk food at Burger King, you know? Mm-hmm. And I come home with a Cinnamon Toast Crunch milkshake and some little fucking fried balls with cream on the inside. Just a variety of Burger King's garbage shit, right? All of it tastes disgusting. None of it tastes like real food. Everything just tastes like you're scooping chemicals into your fucking mouth, man.
Yeah.
Revolting.
It's unfortunate when that happens. You take a gamble, you're like, I mean, it's junk. It's got to be at least deceptively good.
At least potato chips are hey man, I got this kettle chip. It tastes kind of like bacon sour cream. You're like, yeah, this is great. It's a potato chip.
I'm getting an idea that you are this flavor.
Now they're like, hey, we got these baked balls in the freezer. You cook them in your oven and they taste like bacon sour cream.
Yeah.
You're like, well, there's no bacon, there's no sour cream. This is some sort of dough and some sort of creamy chemical in the middle. Fuck you guys. Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys and fuck everybody. Not the listeners. We appreciate you. Unless you create Frankenfoods.
Which, you could.
Oh,
I don't know why you would.
You were going to do the thing where we talk about us?
Yeah, I mean.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Reddit. Facebook. YouTube.
Gmail.
We do them filmographies.
Twitter.
Yep.
Do filmographies.
You could do some filmographies on Twitter.
We got a hotline.
763-634-1897.
Right there.
Yep.
We are on the Now Playing Network.
Yep. Hopefully still.
You go to nowplayingnetwork.net.
I've been Jason. And I've been Jules. We did filmographies. Good night.